Welcome to Lesson 4. In the previous lesson, we took a deep dive into character strengths and identified those that best describe your core values, your signature strengths. We also considered how to apply them in your consulting work and contemplated how to recognize those character strengths most important to your clients. By engaging in this type of exploration, we gain clarity into our own core values while becoming better equipped to align our work with our clients' values. One outcome is a greater sense of fulfillment from the work we do as it becomes an authentic expression of our best selves. And by understanding our clients' values, we're able to align our work with their sensibilities in a manner that secures greater collaboration and buy-in. Trust is fostered. Genuine, mutually beneficial relationships emerge. But what gets us out of bed in the morning to do what we do? What motivates our clients to actually want to work with us? That's the very thing we'll explore in this lesson. Of course, we all enjoy the satisfaction of getting paid to offer our expertise, and our clients respect our hard-won knowledge and the ways in which we help them to improve their organizations. But like most other professions, consulting has its ups and downs. It's rarely a straight line from startup through to sustainable operations and on to the independence and financial freedom that a successful consulting career can provide. The tedium of travel, marketing, negotiations, challenging projects, challenging clients, idea conflicts, personality clashes, administrative burdens, all conspire to suck the life out of us. So what makes us stick with it? And what keeps our clients engaged in a fruitful manner for years at a time? To begin to understand this, let's take a look at two major sources of motivation. External rewards, or extrinsic motivators, such as money for our consulting work or praise from our clients and colleagues, are certainly integral to our financial and emotional well-being. After all, we need to eat, we need shelter, and well, what fun is it if no one really appreciates what we do? Those external rewards are positively necessary, but they're not sufficient. In fact, if we work only for money or only for praise, we'll likely burn out eventually, since it's human nature to want more money and more praise as time goes by. Just think about how it would feel to receive a raise 3 years in a row and then get none after a fourth year at a job. To stay engaged, we need something else. Think about why you were attracted to the consulting profession in the first place. You probably thought about being your own boss, the variety of assignments, the ability to work on things at which you could really excel. Those are all intrinsic motivators, things that make us want to do something simply for the enjoyment or sense of satisfaction we get from doing it. When intrinsic motivators are at play, we do the work for its own sake, not for any external reward. Likewise, our clients engage us as much for the services we provide and the results we help to create as they do for the way we make them feel and the relationship that evolves by working collaboratively. We love what we do. They love working with us. That's the power of intrinsic motivation. So how can we access those intrinsic motivators for our own sake? And how can we tap into our clients' intrinsic motivators to keep them engaged? 40-plus years of research encapsulated in self-determination theory might give us some decent clues on our way to discovering an answer. Through their research at the University of Rochester, Professors Richard Ryan and Ed Deasy discovered that 3 principal psychological needs, autonomy, competence, and relatedness, profoundly influence our degree of motivation when undertaking any activity, and consequently contribute mightily toward our level of engagement with that activity. This applies as much to you as you engage in your consulting work as it does to your clients as they engage with your ideas, methods, or interventions. This idea was popularized a few years ago in the book Drive by Daniel Pink, who posited that autonomy, mastery, and purpose were critical components of human motivation. Ryan and Deasy hypothesized that when these needs are met, an individual is more inclined to be intrinsically motivated to engage in an activity. The cautionary flip side of this idea is that when those needs are undermined, individuals tend to disengage and in fact can actively work to sabotage the work with which they're involved. In our consulting context, not only do we need to remain motivated to tackle our work, we also need to ensure that our clients are motivated to work with us and heed our recommendations for us to be considered effective, to have real impact on our client organizations. That said, let's dive a little deeper into each of these needs and find out how we can satisfy them in ourselves and our clients, and discuss how certain missteps can undermine them to the detriment of our motivations to do good work and our clients' desire to work with us collaboratively. When we think about autonomy, we think about control. It's well understood that human beings prefer control over their lives and livelihoods, and when that control is taken away, we tend to either act out or withdraw completely. Consider any circumstance where you have no control. Hurtling through space at 600 miles an hour at 35,000 feet in a carbon fiber tube, or receiving a medical diagnosis that requires you to completely alter your lifestyle to survive might come to mind. And there's often some degree of angst. And so it is with our work as consultants as we interact with our clients. Try to assert too much control, and your clients will respond in an unfavorable manner. Support their sense of control by encouraging your clients' ideas and input, and you'll have more fulfilling partnerships. So, where can we go wrong? First, if we act as if we know everything and argue every point made by a client, we're undermining their autonomy by promoting the idea that only I can get this job done right, and they can't do it without you. In this instance, we're setting ourselves up for failure. The certainty with which we brag about our expertise becomes an implicit challenge to our clients to find holes in our methods and opinions, and we can actually get them working against us as they try to reassert their sense of control. Further, when we claim that the tools and methods we bring to an engagement are unique and proprietary, and for a client to benefit from them, they must hire us, we're not only reinforcing the idea that we must be in control to have a successful outcome, we're actually reducing the value of those tools and methods by not allowing them to be used widely and become generally accepted as good practices. Finally, when we go on and on about how much prior success we've had, we're effectively asking our clients to turn their attention to other engagements and other clients rather than remain utterly focused on their particular challenges and the unique solutions we'll craft collaboratively to address them. To conduct an autonomy supportive engagement, we use our expertise to empower our clients with complementary knowledge, not negate their contributions by forcing our own ideas on them. If you want to turn a client off, tell them how wrong-headed their suggested approach to a problem is. Likewise, it's always best to leave our clients with some useful tools and resources that persist after our engagement concludes, rather than make them exclusive and available only when we're getting paid to do work on their behalf. There's no greater contributor to our value as consultants than enabling and empowering our clients with innovative approaches to solving previously intractable problems, not enfeebling them by making them dependent upon us. Finally, when conversing with our clients, we ask more than we tell. That's what this course is all about, really. We'll get into the how of asking good questions later on. For now, suffice it to say that bringing coaching sensibilities to consulting engagements means we're, quote, partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential, the very definition of coaching we introduced in Lesson 2. Now let's dig into the psychological need for competence and ways to support that need while avoiding some blind spots to which consultants and other advice givers are prone. As consultants, we're understandably proud of our knowledge and experience. Being acknowledged for our expertise makes us feel valuable, as if we're truly contributing and making a difference in the lives and businesses of others, a major reason most of us do what we do. Our clients are no different. When we offer up too much information too fast, we're effectively presuming that our client needs to know something we know and that they don't know it themselves. By doing so, we can undermine their sense of competence by falling into something psychologists call the righting reflex. The righting reflex is that knee-jerk reaction we have when we offer unsolicited advice or suggest revisions or corrections to what our clients might offer. We're naturally excited to share what we know, yet if we're not mindful of the way we offer our expertise, we can have the opposite of our intended effects. Clients tune out and disengage. Another way we can undermine competence is to talk about ourselves, what we achieved, how we did something, how we overcame a challenge, when our client just may not care. In addition, if we fail to ask their opinion, we're assuming they have no valid perspective to offer. And when we talk about other people's triumphs, we set up the potential for a discouraging comparison. Each of these communication missteps can undermine our client's sense of competence and actively work to distance our good intentions from their desire to work with us. To provide a competence-supportive environment with our clients, we must always acknowledge their business knowledge and the experiences that led them to their current role. In fact, ask for their opinion. Doing so does not undermine your own expertise and instead involves them in the problem-solving process. And if we don't know something, we must say as much. Ask questions if something is unclear. And even when we do know something we feel would be valuable to our client, we should first ask permission to offer it up. A simple question like, can I share a similar problem with you, and how we work with our client to solve it, gives our clients ownership over the solution, rather than being lectured or told what they should be doing, an important element of gaining buy-in. It's well understood, to quote Maya Angelou, that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It's also an oft-repeated idea that we leave our conversations with others feeling either energized or exhausted, and we prefer to spend our time with those who leave us feeling energized. So consider this as you interact with your clients. When someone regales you with everything they know, leaving you unable to get a word in, how do you feel? And when you're asked to opine on something and your input is met with praise, how do you feel? When we make our clients feel good about themselves by supporting their sense of competence, they'll be far more engaged, and your methods and suggestions are more likely to be welcomed. To finish our discussion, let's get into the final psychological need for motivation and engagement, relatedness. Relatedness is our need to be acknowledged for what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. It's that sense of identity and belonging that makes us more inclined to want to do something because we feel as if we're part of something important. Relatedness is intimately tied together with purpose. We can undermine relatedness with our clients when we take it upon ourselves to be entirely self-directed with little or no input from our client organization. When we fail to invite other stakeholders to participate in the outcome of our efforts, we negate any feelings of contribution they may gain for the end result. In effect, we deny our clients their right to have skin in the game and actively disengage them in the process. Further, like undermining competence, we undermine relatedness when we spend a lot of time trying to convince our clients of how smart we are. Always keep in mind that our work is not about us, it's about them, and our attentions should be directed accordingly. Finally, when we focus our conversations on a singular business objective, something that's admittedly called for in certain situations, we run the risk of missing the forest for the trees, obscuring the big picture toward which the client organization is striving. To support relatedness, we keep our eye on the overarching strategies of the client organization, even as we work out the details of our problem-solving interventions. To support relatedness, we consistently reinforce our clients' mission and vision as we engage with them regarding their perceived challenges and the desired outcomes. We explore deeply the benefits of outcomes that align with those organizational aspirations, and importantly, ensure we connect the client's reasons for being in the business they're in with their personal ambitions and values. To be sure, notice that undermining behaviors can have their place and provide value. The key is to be aware of overuse to the point that we discourage our clients and they disengage. We began our discussion with extrinsic and intrinsic motivators, those external factors that motivate us, like money and praise, and internal factors like satisfaction and enjoyment that we derive from fulfilling work that gets us out of bed in the morning. The pursuit of purely external rewards, relying exclusively upon extrinsic motivators, can, in a sense, set up an adversarial relationship with our clients. You want more money for as little effort as possible. Your client wants to pay as little as possible for the best outcomes. The relationship becomes entirely transactional. And that's fine, though over time you'll surely become exhausted chasing your next dollar and always wanting more. Both you and your client are likely to become increasingly disengaged, and off you'll go to the next assignment, and your client will begrudgingly pay your bill and look elsewhere for help in the future. And that's precisely what we want to avoid, and what compelled me to develop this course in the first place. Those client relationships tend to be impersonal. Get in, get done, and get out. Exceptional advisors cultivate long-term relationships with their clients that reap mutual rewards for years, entire careers, in fact. Our goal is to compel intrinsic motivation in our clients and ourselves, the desire to work simply for the enjoyment that we derive from working together. Those engagements are far more collaborative, as clients are truly energized, engaged, and motivated to work with us. They actually become champions for what we do, often referring new clients and raving about the great results achieved by working together. In my own career, those champions, two in particular, have delivered several $1 million of consulting work, and those relationships continue today, nearly 2 decades later. Finally, engagement brings a sense of integration, of consultant with client and client with consultant. Our ways become their ways. We leave valuable pieces of our professional selves behind with every engagement. They prosper, we enjoy genuine fulfillment, and everyone profits. By considering ways in which we can support our clients' psychological needs in a way that promotes their desire to work with us simply because the way we interact resonates with them, in other words, they're intrinsically motivated to engage our services, we take a critical step toward developing far more fulfilling engagements that yield far more impactful outcomes. Before you go, writing in the course workbook, lesson worksheet, or your personal journal, take a moment to describe an interaction with a client, prospect, employer, coworker, or colleague when you felt as if you weren't being heard, where you felt as if you lacked control over a situation, where they were either a decision maker or could otherwise shape events that impacted you without your input. How did you feel? Helpless, demoralized, defeated, isolated? Or maybe you became energized and determined. How would you have rather been treated? Be candid and thorough as you think through this. Next, consider the same scenario with the roles reversed, where you may have undermined someone else's sense of autonomy, competence, or relatedness. How might they have felt? Do you think they became more or less engaged, more or less productive, more or less aligned with your thinking or advice? What could you have done differently? How might you have supported that individual's psychological needs to get a better result? This exercise forces you to take an empathetic posture as you better understand what motivates all of us and how our actions can bring our clients closer to us or push them away. Now that we've gotten to know ourselves and our clients and what makes us tick, in the next section, we'll get into coaching foundations, simple shifts in the way we interact with our clients that can utterly transform our relationships with them while providing far greater impact to their organizations.